Alright, so in this video we're checking out the Happy model, Mobula7 Freestyle HD. So I did a review on the Mobula6 Race HD about a month ago, and there was two versions of the Mobula6 with HDZERO. They had the race version with the Eco camera and then the Freestyle version with the Lux camera. So this is basically the Mobula7 version of the Mobula6 Freestyle HD. Obviously that's the name, and it comes with the HDZERO Lux camera instead of the Eco camera. So for those of you that were wondering what the Lux camera looked like, obviously everyone's already done a review on the Mobula6 Freestyle HD with the Lux camera, so I'm sure you've probably already seen footage of it. Now I personally have seen it for myself. I already knew that it was a much better camera just from the specs alone. It's got a bigger sensor, half-inch sensor, slightly wider field of view, 155 degrees. When you actually look at it, you know, when you're flying it, it's just overall much better colors. Yeah, just better image quality just in general. It's still a 60 FPS camera, so even though you are flying this on the HDZERO system, if you even have the HDZERO goggles at 90 hertz or 100 hertz, whatever, it's still limited to the 60 FPS. But essentially, in a nutshell, what we have here is the Mobula6 Freestyle HD and the Mobula7 frame. I think this is the V4 frame, obviously for 1S still, and we still have the same, the new HDZERO AOI 5, which has the flight controller and the HDZERO video transmitter, the Whiplight VTX, integrate into a single board. So you can see it in this particular frame, because it's only one board. This was meant for two boards. The board sits kind of really low in the frame. It's a little hard to see, and they obviously have a different camera holder for the Lux camera versus the sort of canopy that came with the Eco camera on the one that I reviewed, the Mobula6. So in the box you do get a spare camera holder. This is what they look like. It's a little hard to see here. Very transparent, and some sort of ABS plastic, I think. And then you get a couple of stickers, and then this is the only other thing that was in the box. These are the new props, and you get some spare screws. These are the spare props. You get a prop removal tool and looks like a Phillips head screwdriver. These are HQ ultralight whip props, 40 millimeters by 3, and they are the 1.5 millimeter shaft version. So these are basically the 40 millimeter versions of the 31 millimeter props that are very popular right now on the 31 or the 65 millimeter whoops. So it's the ultralight version of this, basically sort of blown up version of the 31 millimeter propeller, and it feels similar, although obviously on this sort of larger platform and weight, which I'll get to in a second, just it's a little bit different. So the performance of the all-in-one is basically the same. There's no spec difference. Same 5 amp ESCs, the same SPI Express LS receiver, built-in video transmitter, of course, built-in receiver, as I mentioned, the Express LS receiver. The USB port is the micro USB port, comes out the bottom here. Does interact with the battery tray. I'll talk about that here in a second, but no difference basically, other than the fact that it's in a bigger frame, bigger motors, bigger props. And then these are the Happy Model 0802 motors. They're the RS series, and it's kind of like the gunmetal color. 25,000 kV for 1S with the 1.5 millimeter shaft, so a little bit better for durability. And then this V4 frame here, I think it also comes in sort of a charcoal color as well. It's kind of the standard now for 40 millimeters for Happy Model. They have had several different iterations of this frame, and I think they sort of settled on this one. This was the latest version. It's been out for a while, and they haven't updated it in a while. Now, in terms of the batteries, I did have some trouble finding ones that wouldn't slide around in here, and this is the one I like to use for this connector here. This is the A30 connector, which is compatible with BT 2.0, and you can see this is their lava battery. it just slides. It's too loose, so it just falls out. And I did try and fly it like this, but with it plugged in. But what would happen when you're flying around, because it would shift around, you would get these little wobbles. I was like, wow, what is that? And that is because the battery was moving around. And obviously, I kind of knew that was going to happen. I just wanted to see what would happen, and my what I thought would happen actually happened. This was a no-go. I did do a few punch-outs on this battery, and this battery is better than the battery that you're going to see the flight footage from, which is the ones that fit. And these are the ones I have on hand that fit. These are these Flywoo 450. These are the V2s. And then I have the 1S750s. These are the A30 connectors. And for flight time, I'm getting, obviously depends on how aggressive you're on the throttle, like 2.5 minutes. So I would say more aggressive, like 2 minutes, less aggressive, 3 minutes on this battery. And the 750, I say it average around 5 minutes on this one, but this is quite a bit heavier, so you're kind of limited to more sort of cruisy flights if you're looking just to cruise around. And then these Flywoo batteries just aren't as good as the lava batteries from Beta FPV. I guess I'm not sure if it's a C rating or the type of battery construction. Just the punch out power and the voltage sag is quite a bit more in this one. But I just basically had to fly with what fit in here. Now, granted, there's probably a way to modify the frame to get the battery to stay in, but you can see that it's too tall and too wide, and so it just rattles around here. Like, it's basically just there's no way it's going to hold on here. I suppose you could perhaps stick some foam in here or something like that to modify it. Of course, I'll add a little bit of weight. So I just didn't want to mess with the frame. Just wanted to fly it stock for the review. I may do that for a future video. If you're interested in that, let me know. But this one is the one that fit just fine. And then I think it's mainly because the width of the battery is snug and it'll slide in without moving around. Same with this one, but it's also kind of thick. So while it goes in, it rubs against the micro USB ports. So I would not recommend crashing with this battery if you're using this thicker battery, because it is very close to the micro USB port there. It's because the board is kind of sitting low in this frame. I think what I would recommend Happy Mile do is maybe put some taller rubber grommets in here so the board sits up in the frame a little bit more, and then this USB port will be pushed more away from the tray. I think that's what they should do. You could probably also just do it yourself and unscrew these and put some spacers under there, but I'm not sure if these screws are going to be long enough. That's another thing. So they put in some maybe taller grommets in there and also longer screws so that this board is a little bit lifted up off of the frame so that USB port it is kind of in a dangerous spot. And if you have a bad crash where it hits it just perfectly, that USB port could get knocked off the board. Just saying. Just one of those little things. And then I think another thing that's different on this version that I didn't see on the Mobula7 Freestyle or the Race HD that I have is that they have this little TPU part here that holds the VTX antenna. So that's a little something to hold it in place so it doesn't flap around and go into the props, and hopefully it doesn't get knock off this UFO connector. And I don't see any glue on here. Yeah, a little bit of glue in here might be nice too as well, just so that UFO connector doesn't get pulled off. But otherwise, can't really complain too much about the build. Pretty solid build overall. And I think the power from this could be a little bit better. And I'm not sure if it's because I just didn't have the right battery. Maybe I just feel like this was a little bit underpowered, even though you can do tricks and flips and fly pretty aggressively. You're seeing I'm flying pretty aggressively here on this battery. Just feel like there's too much voltage sag on this battery, and I'm often coming out of these split S's and hitting the ground because I don't have enough power to pull out of the dive. And it probably has to do with how much this weighs and the amount of power available to you. So let's go ahead and show you what this weighs. So this one, just by itself, no batteries, coming in at 24.4 grams. So that's pretty impressive. I remember the not the last Mobula 6 HDZERO, the couple generations ago, when they had the separate board with the video transmitter and the flight controller separate, the 31mm or the 65mm whoop version of that was almost, it might have been even more than this, I forget exactly, but it was around 24 grams. So now we have a 40mm prop version at that weight. So definitely in terms of power to weight ratio, a lot better. And then with the 1S450 I flew with, takes us to 37.1. And then if you go to the 750, yeah, quite a bit more, with 41.1, another 4 grams or so. So basically the bottom line is with the bigger prop, you get, and the bigger frame, of course, and bigger motor, you get a little bit more weight. I'm not so sure you get that much more flight time. I think if you're more, sorry, not more, but less aggressive on the throttle with the bigger prop, it's going to be a little bit more efficient overall, and you're going to get more flight time. But it also gives you the fact that you can get the bigger battery into the 750. So if you are into like just kind of cruising around, and you can get a 5-minute flight on that 750, no problem. And the performance seems fine. Pitune is, of course, pretty good. Didn't have too many issues. I was kind of flying around in outdoors conditions with some wind. Indoors, obviously you're not going to have any wind, so it's very stable indoors. But overall, can't complain. I thought it flew pretty nice. It would have been nice if I could have flown the 6 or the Mobula 6 version of this with the Lux camera, although it's, in my imagine, it probably flies exactly the same as the race version, just with a different camera, which is basically what it was. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Lux camera. It's pretty nice on this one. Obviously, I think it's worth the extra weight, just a better image quality. It just costs a little bit more as well, so it's probably, if you want to switch that, it's pretty easy to do. You will need to acquire the camera holder. So if you have the Freestyle Race HD, you can go to the, if you have the Mobula 6 Race HD, you can probably go to the Freestyle version by getting the camera holder and the Lux camera. You just have to desolder the 4 wires here and swap the camera out, and you're good to go. You basically have the Freestyle version at that point. So as some of you may or may not have noticed in some of the footage I've shown here, and then you're going to see, is that all the footage is from the HDZERO goggles, and I have a big story about where these came from and why I'm sending them back. So if you want to hear more about that, I'll have that in a future video, so stay tuned. I'm going to talk about these goggles in a little bit more detail about my experience with them. You'll probably see that the footage is pretty good in terms of reception, of course. But the little teaser there for the next video, I will have a video on this one. I know a lot of people review this already, but I'm going to give you my personal experience and opinion on this goggle. And you'll have to wait and see about that. But that'll do it for this video. Link will be down in the video description if you guys want to check out the Mobula7 Freestyle HD. That'll do it for this video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.